Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Connor Williams, joined by Callum Brannan. Cal, nice to see you again.
Hello.
On today's show, we're going to be discussing Dwight McNeil and a couple of the other players we're linked with recently. We'll start off, though. Leon Bailey, just give me your thoughts on him going to Villa. Obviously, he was one of our targets. Just your thoughts on him going to Villa, where it leaves us at the minute.
It doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. I think we all knew as soon as Villa were interested, Villa were going to get him. It's just kind of, Villa have got money to spend. Villa knew, right, we can sign all these players, because let's face it, Villa knew Grealish was off. And they're like, we're going to have 100 million to spend. There you go. 27 million. Surely we had that. Surely we have 27 million. We're saying we're willing to pay 25 for Dwight McNeil. So it's just like, I just don't understand it.
I was going to say, doing the news videos quite regularly with the transfer gossip, and that's one of the things I can't understand. We haven't got enough for Denzel Dumfries, but we're linked with Joaquin Correa, who we'll get into probably later on. But that boggles my mind as well, how we've not got money, but then we have got money, But give me your thoughts on Dwight McNeil, because it looks like he's probably going to be our next. It was him and Samuel Chukwueze from Villarreal, but it looks like we're very much in the boat of let's go get Dwight McNeil.
I don't know. I like Dwight McNeil. I think he's a really good player. I think he's fantastic. I mean, look at the game he played against us as the example. But we need a pacey winger. And Dwight McNeil's not that. Unless we're going to sell James and play McNeil in the 10, which is very possible. And to be honest, if some club actually offers us 20 million for James, who is apparently now on 200 grand a week, then bloody, I don't know. But I just, as a winger, I think he's really good. I think, but we're going to need someone on the opposite end with real pace, because look, Irwin's put it here. It's not what we need. We need someone fast and who can score, and that Chukwueze fit perfectly. But I'm guessing we just want a young English talent who we can probably sell for profit in the future. I'm guessing that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like him. I'm looking at a couple of his stats here. The game against us is one that brings to mind, but I'm certain on their given day, any player can look good against us. That young lad for Sheffield United rings the bell. So in 36 games last year, he got 2 goals, 5 assists, got an average rating according to FootMob of like 6.86, which is like, I'd say that's just a standard season. Obviously, last season is a bit of an anomaly on the fact that it was a weird season. But I mean, I quite like the look of him. I get what you're saying. He's not a player that is blistering with pace. I don't think he's anywhere near as fast as Leon Bailey. I don't think he's anywhere near as fast as that Chukwueze. But like you said, he is an English talent. And I guess the other thing with him is he's Premier League proven, which, is thrown around a lot. But I think in certain circumstances, you can sort of see why the Prem proven label is so important. Timo Werner screams to mind, But I mean, how much do you think Burnley are willing to separate with him for?
25 to 30 million, which in the end isn't a bad price. It's not a bad price in the end for, how old is he? 22, 23, might be even younger.
I was going to say I feel like he might be a little bit. He's 21.
And for an English player on the ball, he's technically fantastic. And I don't think we see the best out of him because he plays for a very direct Burnley team. I don't know. It might not be bad if we have him on one side and Richarlison on the other. Richarlison, a very direct player, a lot of skill as well, but much more direct. And then we can have McNeil is someone who can actually, unlike he won't be, I hate to bring it up and slander him again. It's someone who has the skill, but then can actually beat a man and then has some end product to give us some. They won't sell him that cheap. They'll want 40 million. They'll want 40 million, but will they get 40 million?
I think
you have to have a look in to the actual club of Burnley and go, right, 30 million. If McNeil throws a paddy, are they just going to go, right, we need to separate with the money while we can get it? Because in the end, I don't think McNeil will ever go for 40, 50 million while he's at Burnley. I think maybe at a club like us, or like a Villa, for example. Villa were interested, but they won't want him now. I think because it's just
apparently they're still in. Apparently Villa are still interested. I think they're just going to buy as many wingers as they can, according to Villa.
I don't know, because signing every good winger possible, it's just it's not going to replace Jack Grealish. Like I said, I think I've got high hopes for Villa, and when I do a season prediction sometime in the future, people will say I have really high hopes for Villa. But I don't know, because I can imagine Buendia's going to play in the 10 now, and then they're going to, because surely they're not going to bench Ollie Watkins. They'll just put him on the left like he used to do for Brentford, or was it the right? I don't know, but
I don't know. I mean, I'd say at the minute we're in poll. I think Cry G here though in the comments. I'm going to assume is a Burnley fan, because he points out, and I've got a Burnley fan who's a friend from uni, and he says the same thing as him. Burnley are in a real situation where they don't have many wingers. My mate told me, he was like, if we sold McNeil to anyone this window, we'll be stuck. But like, interestingly enough, he reckons that it'll cost a little bit more, but he also says Dwight McNeil doesn't need the pace, he's skillful, and that he's not as slow as people say, but he doesn't score because of his positioning, which is what we highlighted. You know, Burnley are direct, but they're also compact. Sean Dyche likes his players to be compact, so there may be a little bit of restraint in what he's allowed to do. I don't think he's slow. I'm not, no. I've seen a couple of people make out like we're going to stick, he's got the same pace as James or Robbie Brady's going to be up and down the wing for us. He's not slow. I don't think he's anywhere near the blistering pace that we sort of expect. We were on about, when you think Damari Gray, who's apparently a bit of a, pocket rocket in terms of pace. Leon Bailey, who's absolutely rapid. I think we thought we were going to go for a little bit of a faster winger, reaching the high-end sprinters of the league. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I personally, 40 million. I don't think we've got that to spend, surely,
unless we do sell James, which I think is happening now.
Well, I was going to say, news broke today that AC Milan are pulling out. They reckon due to his injuries and also due to his high wages, which again I didn't realise he was on 200k, but apparently he is in his high wages.
Or is that just paper talk saying he's on 200? Because as thoughts on thoughts on Jack Grealish complete. It's £100 million complete. You've got to pay that much. He's one of the best players in the league, and he's still young in English. You know what I mean? It confuses me because I can imagine he's going to play as an 8 next to De Bruyne, but I don't know. I think it's a good signing for City, and I think in the end, City now have some more marquee English talent. So and look at the position it's put Villa in as well. Villa have sold Grealish and are going to improve.
I saw him getting a lot of stick from Villa fans because obviously he's left his boyhood club, which he was always going to do. But I think I saw someone tweet the other day going he could have gone seasons ago, but he's stuck around, and I think he's got the best price you're going to get for him. 100 million's a very good price for him, in terms of for Villa. And I think the way they're recruiting players, the way they're investing the money back, it's going to put them in a really good place. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how much they can spend. Bearing in mind, we are apparently
Man City, if they can spend what they want. Man City could be going bankrupt and still spend as much as they want. James is on around 120 to 140k a week.
So Correa,
that sounds a lot more realistic. About Bernard,
I was going to say. I think Bernard was on that sort of price, wasn't he?
Bernard was 130.
That's mental that Bernard was one of our highest paid. That's mental. As you say, I just guess Correa Della Sport would touting different, but obviously you got to take everything and pay for a bit of pinch of salt. Well, while we're on about James Rodriguez, personally, do you think we should keep him, or do you think we should try and cash in quickly?
If we can get £20 million for him, then sell him. But we're not gonna. You know what I mean? Like I said, £20 million for someone we played on a free, had an injury, he was fantastic. Don't get me wrong, and I love James, and I think he was fantastic for the club. But at the same time, 20 million right now is something you can't turn down for someone who's not guaranteed minutes. And I can kind of understand where the club's coming from for £20 million, but for anything less, like I said, if no one wants to sign James, and James, it doesn't look like James is throwing a strop about leaving. It looks like it is probably paper talk, but it looks like it's more Rafa who wants James to leave than James who wants to leave. So in the end, it's just I kind of get it because he'll want to play counter-attacking football. He'll probably want to play fast counter-attacking football. But in the end, and James doesn't defend. But also there probably is ways to put that around and put the people around James to make sure. We've got a really energetic midfield. We'll have energetic forwards. Even if we just play Damari Gray, they've all got energy. So in the end, it's just about, I guess it's about being careful with the money. For example, if we do sell James for, let's say we sell him for, we managed to get 20 million. It's not going to happen, but let's say Porto somehow have got 20 million pounds and they managed to buy it from us. And then, but at the same time, then it's what are we going to spend it on? Are we going to spend it on Dwight McNeil, or are we going to do an Everton and pay 25 million for Harry Winks? So I think it all depends on. I'd have to know what we're getting with the James money to say if it's worth selling him or not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we sold him, we would be in a we could be in a situation where we need a number 10, and obviously Rafa likes to play the 4-2-3-1 when attacking 4-5-1 flat. I mean, it does open the door, like you said, to playing Dwight McNeil in the hole. Like G's just, said, he's a very skillful player. He's someone that I think would benefit in that hole. I don't think it's beyond the possibilities of playing. But one of the major midfielders we've been linked with is Matheus Nunes, which shocks me a bit because I think if we sold James Rodriguez, Matheus Nunes is sort of an Andre Gomez type of player. I know reports have said we offered Sporting a swap and they've said no. But that's more like for like in terms of style of play. But if we were to sell him and get someone else, maybe Raf is thinking 4-3-3. Maybe it's a change of shape for him this season.
I don't know. Because to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what Rafa's going to pull out. It's like Andrew's put it here. Like, why do we keep getting linked with players for 30 million plus? We've got no money. If we're going to sell players, we've got to swap. I think that's what we've got to do. And I think we could get rid of Andre Gomez to a team like Benfica or thingy. But for Nunes, Gomez is worth what? 10 million, I'd say. So of course they're not going to accept a straight. Maybe if we offered like 7.5 million with like 3 million, I don't know, with like a few add-ons, and then said Andre Gomez as well. But then they might be like, well, we want you to pay some of his wages. It's a difficult situation for Everton, and I think this transfer window has been absolutely miserable. It has been miserable. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy with the signings of Gray, Townsend, Begovic, but at the same time, we're not improving while every team around us is massively improving. You know what I mean? Like, Villa have gone from, we'd have to worry about Villa. They've only got Jack Grealish to probably having one of the better attacks in the league next season. So it's just, Villa are showing, like, don't get me wrong, are showing we can't really, I don't know, we can get good players on the cheap. I think Villa have shown that. We were getting told we'll have to pay 40 million for Bailey, they paid 27. Danny Ings for 30 million, it depends on the Danny Ings you get. It depends if you're getting Danny Ings who can play a full season or Danny Ings who's going to play half a season. But even look at how much he still scored for Southampton, even injured. Every team around us in the league has improved. Even Leeds, Leeds have even improved with Fairport left back and stuff like that. So I think we have to do something. And maybe we're doing like what Villa did with Danny Ings. Maybe we're trying to keep things quiet. But at the same time with Everton, it's impossible to keep things quiet because you can't keep things quiet at this club.
Well, I was gonna say, like, it reminds me before we had the money, this window. It reminds me of before we had the money, where it was more shop smart, and one player will have to go before you can bring in. It very much gives me that vibes about this transfer window. But one of the other players that we're linked with today, again, it all seems to be around this, behind the striker sort of position, is Joaquin Correa from Lazio, who has already apparently told Lazio he's very happy to leave, and has sort of give a come get me to us and Inter Milan. Again, another team we seem to be battling quite often with for players' signatures this summer. Do you think he could fit in the team? I don't think he's a right winger. Personally,
he's like a shadow striker. I think he's like a centre forward. So he likes to score goals. He's really creative. He's a good player. I do rate him, but at the same time, he's a more direct player. He's going to fit the counter attack go system more. But 30 million again, 30 million euros. I think it was what they wanted.
Yeah,
we offered 20 million. Did we offer 20 million euros or 20 million pounds?
I'm not too sure. It gets a bit confusing with the currency exchange. I mean, maybe he's who he sees as James' replacement. Obviously, I said before about Matheus Nunes not being a like for like. Maybe he sees Correa as a bit more of a like for like, but will benefit more in terms of defense. Do you think he could, that number 10 role?
I don't know, because I don't think he'll be stereotypical 10. I feel like he'll be But for example, let's say we manage to sell some players and bring in McNeil and Correa. which I don't think is going to happen, but it really wouldn't surprise me if Everton get the money, then blow it all on forwards and forget to sign a right back. And then poor Seamus Coleman's going to be dying in January when we get out. I don't know, but even John Joe Kenny could do well. I don't really know what Everton are planning, but it's really confusing. Messi to Everton.
Yeah, the Messi to Everton shot. I predicted this before we came on.
Yeah,
that would be that in a dream world, that'd be brilliant. I know Thomas on the channel did a Messi at Everton simulator on Football Manager, which if you haven't seen, go check it out. It was pretty cool, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, that
we
would
probably
be the
still finished like 8th, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did we even get top 4?
I can't remember now, probably not. But Messi to Everton would be good. Although I saw one person jokingly tweet before saying he's not got the pace for the right wing, which made me laugh. Erwin's just said here we need to be better than John Joe Kenny. I've heard from Celtic fans that he's had a stinker last season out on loan. He's not someone that Celtic, as well Celtic fans anyway, are hoping comes back. It brings us on to a good point. The right back situation is somewhere I think we can all agree is, we heavily need to improve there. Like you said, Seamus Coleman is going to be on his knees. This season proved in games. I think he had poor games this season where he just looked a yard behind the pace. And like you said, teams around us are improving. Wingers are getting faster. Obviously, Dumfries was everyone's hope. But it looks like that might be dying out. Jorge Sanchez, have you seen much of him? I know he's at the Olympics right now in Mexico, but
I feel like I might have, when we were looking at right backs tonight, I might have took a look at him. Did I? Or when I was on the Blue Boys network? I'm gonna guess so because I think he was the Mexican right back. Or I couldn't find any stats.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue because it's impossible to find stats on the guy. It is like all the websites I usually use, like FB Ref and stuff, they don't have like. If someone will get it, if you Google Messi on FB Ref, it comes up with like a little percentile. So if you're in the top 5%, it'll be 95%. Yeah, it didn't have anything on him. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go winger and say Leon Bailey. But, it's just, it ended up, it was really strange. I don't know, because it'll be really cheap, probably. We're signing him from Mexico, and he might be really good, but it's also a massive risk. Is he going to probably sit behind Seamus Coleman, and then when Coleman's legs go, they're going to go, right, let's give him a chance? I don't know, because I saw, was it Jed Bench from Middlesbrough as well? There's another one. But with some of the names we're linked with, it looks like we're looking at backups for when Coleman can't hack it instead of looking for starters, which I think Coleman's still got it in the tank to be a good right back, but he'd have to get subbed every game. And I think that's just pointless. Having someone on the pitch who's going to have to get substituted constantly. It was my big problem with James.
Yeah, I mean, I found a couple of like little ones. It's not very in depth, so I mean, it's just his goals and thingy. But in last season's, I'll go off last season's because I feel it's a bit harsh to judge him in the Olympics because I think he's only played like 2 games for. He got an average of 6.9 rating. Started 13 games. He seems a good player, but I don't think he's going to come in and be the Seamus anywhere near the standard of Seamus Coleman was a couple of seasons ago. He does sort of, looking at it now, give me the sort of, he'd be a backup. But apparently he's going for quite cheap. I think the news report today was he was going to cost us 7 million. That's in actual pounds. It's about $10 million. Which isn't bad. He's 23 as well. So if he is any good, he'll be around for the next 10 years, possibly, if he does a Seamus Coleman.
I mean, it's not a bad person to sit behind, is it, Coleman? But at the same time, it's Coleman got the legs. Like some games, Coleman were fantastic, but at the same time, you could tell at some points that he was just knackered and got played too much. So I don't really know if we want to be rotating right backs. I mean, I'm willing to give him a chance for 7 million, and then we can. But I don't want us to neglect right back just to make luxury signings in the end, because you know what I mean. It's like Villa. If Villa sign McNeil, what are they going to do? Bench Ollie Watkins? You know what I mean? Bench Danny Ings? It's like for example, with that, it's signing luxury players for the sake of signing luxury players for internet attention, not for the actual benefit of the squad.
Yeah, I mean, I was fully in the camp of Dumfries. I was really either him or Max Aarons. Obviously, either player is going to cost a like. I thought Dumfries wasn't going to cost us that much. I think he'd be cheaper than Max Aarons anyway. I don't think Norwich are going to sell Max Aarons unless it's for big money, and I don't think they right now are in a position where they need to sell him either unless it's for big money. Um, well, we'll go through these. Would you have took Max Aarons in an ideal world if we had the money to absolutely splurge?
Yeah, 100%. I think 30 million is a bit much, and I think he's going to give Norwich another chance. But what it could be as well is it could be we signed Sanchez, or he is Sanchez, the right back in it.
Yeah.
We signed Sanchez, and then in January, Norwich are rock bottom, no chance of escape, and Max Aarons goes, "Let me go now," and we sign Max Aarons, and then we have two right backs because it might be a January thing. We might have more money in January, and then we've got targets in January. But I also know Brands is hardly looking in the Netherlands, and I've seen a few names. I don't think they were linked, but a few names who we could be looking at. I can't find the list, but I know like Madueke from PSV was on there because of the link. For example, like that, probably cost us about the same as McNeil, maybe, but at the same time, I think he's a much more exciting prospect. And I think this is quite interesting to talk about. Chris here put, sad to watch my team lose out to Aston Villa. Players picking these clubs over us. Why? Money. It's just a simple answer. It's Villa have got more money than us, can offer more wages than us. And the Villa project looks better right now. I understand we've got a new stadium coming in, and that's probably quite exciting. But I feel like the real excitement for that might kick on next season instead of this one, because then we'll probably have money after a full season. The fans will be making good income again. I feel like this season is very much Rafa hopefully building a core group of players, and then we can start adding players. I'm trying to think of kind of like how Villa have done now. Villa have got a core. They've figured out we're going to lose Grealish out of this core. So they've signed loads of wingers to hopefully then they all can replace the level of Grealish. But then you've noticed they've kept a majority of their core because for the midfield, the defence, and the goalkeeper doesn't need changing in the slightest.
No.
What Villa have done is strengthen the squad after 2 years in the Premier League, realising that signing didn't work. Right, let's try this. Leicester are the prime example of it. Leicester are the kings of it.
Yeah, Leicester are a really good club to sort of try and mould yourself around. I mean, for me, it highlights where maybe we went a little bit wrong with the Lukaku money. Sort of
like
shades of
with the Bale money. That's what we
like shades of now. It's looking at it going, could it have been spent a little bit better? Which it definitely that in hindsight, it's all about hindsight. To be fair,
Yeah, I think if you look at the time, Gylfi Sigurdsson for how much we paid for him was always too much. But for example, Davies looked like one of the best young midfielders on the planet. It didn't work out, personally, I think, because he wasn't given the chances. Same with Nikola Vlasic. He wasn't given the chances. It's like we signed all these players and then didn't give them opportunities. And then we complained for signing them. I just don't understand why we ever did. It's really confusing. It's like we signed these 10s and then went, oh, we can get Wayne Rooney for really cheap. Like, don't get me wrong, Rooney scored 11 goals that season. Rooney was good, but we didn't need him. But it's confusing, and it always is with Everton. I just feel like whoever's the head of recruitment, I don't know if that is Brands, and I don't know if we have someone else who helps him, or whoever who was it at the time. It was the guy who used to work for Leicester, wasn't it?
Yeah, Steve Walsh. And he did well at Leicester because he brought Kante and Mahrez to Leicester.
I think they've also got a better scouting team than us. Like, they had in-detailed scouting teams in League Two. That's why they were able to count. Like, I think I watched a video on it, and it was like Kante, Tony Cruz, and someone else were the only players to have the statistics that Leicester wanted. And then obviously you look at the name and you're like, why is he there with them? And you're like, oh, we'll take a punt on him for that cheap. Mahrez, similar. So it's hard to say because I feel like teams always work better with a smaller budget. I just feel like that's how it is because when you've got the bigger money, you want the bigger players. It's natural. I think you always see teams with a smaller budget make the smarter signings and then profit off them. I feel like we're trying too much to be a top 6 club when we're not a top 6 club yet. I think that's the problem.
Well, I was going to say a lot of clubs. There seems to be a shift in mentality, which apparently is what Brands is. I reported like a couple of months ago that it was what Brands wants now is this Moneyball project. Brentford are really good at it, and I'm excited to see them in the Prem this year because they've worked really well. And Ned, their owner, is like he learned how to beat the bookies through stats. He's a big believer of it and brought it into Brentford. But it's this idea of Moneyball on the concept of looking at stats, buying players that are undervalued. Like I remember reading that Kante was signed by Leicester, but he was pushed away by a couple of others because they said he was too small for that role. Which he is a small man. He's not going to win, the balls in midfield, but he makes up, in a header. But he makes up for absolutely covering.
Yeah. It's even the way Leicester signed him. Leicester locked him in a hotel and told him to turn off his phone while they negotiated. Like, it's a bit strange when you think about it, but then when you think about it, you're like, genius. And it's like, I feel like it's hard with the whole concept of Moneyball. Obviously, it's based off the Brad Pitt film, which is then based off a baseball franchise,
the Oakland days,
which looked at a very specific stat, which wasn't getting looked at enough, and then went, why don't we sign players at this value for this? And then I think it's hard. I think at the same time, I don't think we have the scouting team for it yet, which maybe that's something we're planning on improving, and maybe that's something, because don't get me wrong, clearly, the players Marcel Brands is now looking at, clearly he knows what he's doing, but at the same time, some of it is his fault, and maybe that's, in hindsight, it's his fault, but at the time, you also are like, we can't really blame you because, you know what I mean? No, not everyone's a psychic and knows things are going to work out. It's just how football works. It's like, I don't think anyone expected Seamus Coleman to be one of the best right-backs in the league for a few years. No one expected Leighton Baines to be as good as he was. You know what I mean?
I thought that about that Sancho. I've not seen a lot of him play, so I'm determined not to put in a verdict because I've not seen a lot of him. But I thought that before. I bet if you told me like 10 years ago Everton were going to look at someone from Sligo Rovers for 60 grand, I'd be like, what are we doing that for? Like now, if it was the same back then, and it's sometimes you can really unearth some gems. So I'm holding with judgment on some of the players that we're linked with because
if we spend big money on these players that we don't scout properly, I don't mind if we're spending 1-2 million, low amounts of money on these players that could work out, because in the end, if they don't work out, most of the time you can sell them for a similar price because you bought them for such a low price. Like what we got offered, was it 25-30 million by United a few years ago for Coleman?
Yeah.
And we paid 60 grand. Like, obviously, that's not quite like Mahrez levels, because Mahrez is like 450 grand and sold for 60 million. But it's ridiculous amounts of money, and it shows that when we had Moise, like, don't get me wrong, there were a few stinkers, but a lot of the times we were able to find gems that no one else was looking at. And now, because we've got money, that idea is thrown out of the window. Leicester have got money, and Leicester still smartly. Like, Leicester, they don't go for massively out there choices. They go for choices that you go, oh, that makes sense. They go for like a lot of scouting YouTube channels will suggest these players, and Leicester will sign them because Leicester are also have got their eye everywhere. Basically, they're smart. They know the important stats, and in the end, the important stats aren't a specific group of stats. They're not the same group of stats for every team. For example, for the way Rafa wants to play, there'll be different stats from the way Leicester want to play that will fit us more than it would fit Leicester, and that might mean we need to sign them. It's a difficult process, and we all want to be football scouts. We all want to say we are nine for these players, but loads of us probably thought Davies was going to be good. He wasn't. Loads of us thought this, and that, and it just didn't work out. But it's a difficult job. But at the same time, I think Everton. It is a difficult job, but I think Everton still don't put the proper research in for these players. Or they just, like, for example, Steve Walsh just tried to copy everything at Leicester, I think, and it didn't work. And instead of like looking at the new club, the new philosophy, he just tried to go Leicester 2.0 with a bigger budget, which didn't work.
I think identity is a massive problem for us, to be fair. Like, he came in and he was buying good players, but like for what style of play? Like, I think style of play and an identity is something we lack a little bit, and I think that's mainly because every 18 months there's a new man in charge with a new idea. Like, Roberto Martinez doesn't play the same type of football as Carlo Ancelotti, nor will he play the same as Allardyce. Neither did Silva. I'm not too sure. I really like. He's a nice guy, but I'm not too sure what Marco Silva told them to go out and play sometimes.
I think Marco Silva wanted to excite fans, but didn't realise we didn't have the squad. to excite fans properly. It's kind of, I think he saw Roberto Martinez's first season and went, I can do that. And then, you know what? The first season where we finished like 8th, I think, it were pretty good. Because at least it was kind of entertaining. Because wasn't Silver our manager when we battered United 4-0?
Yeah, he was, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the guy. He's a nice guy. I just think he needed a bit more of a spine.
Yeah, exactly. I just think, but I think it's the one thing I kind of like about Rafa. Is he's still kind of defensive, so it isn't a massive shift. So like the players shouldn't take too, like for example, if we would have signed Potter, the players that have been, especially when we did as well, just before the Florida Cup and stuff, the players have been like, wait, what? You want us to do what? Sorry. And it'd just be, so I kind of get it. And the more and more I look into it after we sign Rafa, it makes more and more sense. But I also don't want Everton's identity to be sit back against Newcastle and concede 2, so it's just, I think the system of playing defensive counter-attacking football's there, and now Rafa has to tweak it and improve it to make us better. So in the end, let's hope we are forming an identity and that Rafa's the first step, and then maybe Dunk will take over after learning under these managers, and he'll understand the philosophy. And then it's hope, really. It's hope, but we just need to make sure we make the right signings to fit that.
I mean, I was quite excited. I was Gaultier or Potter because I think I've brought into the fact that Graham Potter's a good manager, which is something that absolutely splits people. Speaking of rumours here, we've got Kean will stay if Messi goes to PSG from Irwin. I think, and last time I heard PSG are fully pulled out of Moise Kean now, but I heard the other day that we reported when I did the videos, apparently Inter Milan are keen on Moise Kean if Lukaku goes, which it's if Lukaku goes to Chelsea, but I think that's a mental idea that Moise Kean is anywhere near going to come in and contribute what Lukaku did. If I was Inter Milan, nowhere near. I'd go with that Muriel because at least he's proven in their league.
But he's like 31. I kind of understand what they're doing. They've got rid of all these players and they're just going, right, we're going to have to rebuild now. That's it. They've won their Scudetto, they've won their league title, and then they've gone, right, we're losing arguably one of the best strikers. Like there is a case for that man being the best striker on the planet right now. I know this might be an Everton fan bias, and Lukaku's still one of my favourite players. Like I had no problems with him leaving. I've still supported him throughout his entire career ever since he's left. But I just think I don't like the Chelsea thing though. I don't like.
It's going to be tough seeing him go back to Chelsea.
I don't like the idea of the club that spat him out. And don't get me wrong, thank God they spat him out to us. But spat him out, told him you're not good enough to play in front of, like, no offense to Didier Drogba, a 34-year-old Drogba. And in that season, he scored 18 goals for West Brom, including a hat-trick against Man United. I think it was a hat-trick against United on Fergie's last day. You know what I mean? So it's difficult. I can understand why, because in the end, if Chelsea have got Lukaku leading their line, I think they really can challenge City. Like, really challenge
Chelsea
City.
are one to watch next season. They're a really good side. I think they're good, like, anyway, but someone like Lukaku in front of goal could be a real... Because obviously this season...
Werner on the wing.
Yeah, because like this season, I think they thought Timo Werner was going to come with the same, sort of form that he did at Leipzig in his last seasons. And obviously, for whatever reason, I think it's physicality mainly, because he said he played against Brighton and was like, I can't believe how physical and how big the defenders are here, which is mad because I don't watch the Bundesliga and ever think, God, they've got small centre-backs. But
they're not quick. A lot of Bundesliga centre-backs aren't very... There's a new age of young centre-backs in the Bundesliga now who are getting quick, but Bundesliga centre-backs are known for being quite big and brutey and not really the quickest. So it's just like... Now I see the idea of moving Werner onto the wing now being a lot better because he can use his pace. And he's still a good player. You've seen it's him in front of goal. He can get in front of goal. He makes... His runs are some of the best in the Premier League, in my opinion.
His XG is really
finishing them runs.
Like
some of the runs he makes,
is high.
Some of the runs he makes for Chelsea are filthy, and it's a problem time for Chelsea because Zion has been good in pre-season. Back a bit. Are they gonna? I feel like Chelsea are a weird one. I feel like there's a lot of players Chelsea might be willing to get rid of that we have to look at, especially like if they sign Lukaku. I'd honestly look at maybe taking Callum Hudson a loan. See if we can trick him into an option to buy. Because in the end, that guy, I don't care what people say, Callum Hudson-Odoi is unreal at football. There's a reason he was linked to Bayern Munich, man. It's just, and he even played good at wing back for him. But it's just the idea of like Zuma. They've said they'll sell Zuma for 20 there.
Yeah. Apparently Zuma is leaving. I mean, he should have. I don't know how they managed to sell him and convince him after the loan that they were going to give him game time, but he really should have pushed to join us after his loan.
He did push,
They
didn't
promised,
he?
they promised they'd play him and then he'd go in the French squad, and he stayed in the end. It was the fact they promised him first team football and then didn't.
I know.
And then
He played under Lampard. He played quite a lot under Lampard.
Yeah. I think it's once Lampard. I think that's who told him he'd play him, Lampard, and then after that, I just don't think Tuchel rates him for some reason.
I mean, if Tomori ain't good enough to get in that squad, sorry, Zuma, that was one that annoys me too, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's one here. This one's an interesting one. I obviously the Toffee Blues tweeted this before, and I can't help but agree. Thoughts on Barkley rumours? That would kill off a lot of fans. This summer's been a bit of a tough one with Rafa. You've got to adjust to getting Rafa Benitez in. You've got to adjust to the fact we're not going out splurging money like we normally do. Ross Barkley to Everton might tip some people over the edge.
It's just stupid. It's pointless. It's not even because he snaked us out. I don't care. I don't hold on to past grudges for players like that. I just don't care. Unless someone left us for Liverpool, I don't care. It's like, it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers a lot of people. But at the same time, it's like what we were saying about Rafa initially. It's not the past links. It's right now. That's the problem. It's just like, it proves we're a step behind Villa if we're signing Villa rejects.
Yeah, they don't seem to be. From what I've heard, Villa aren't pushing for him. They've had him on loan, and they're not.
Ross Barkley needs to go to a Norwich, a Watford, a Brentford, a Crystal Palace, and prove himself again. There's a player in there. We all know that there's a player in there, but he's lazy. He's incredibly lazy, and it's ruined his career. And it's just like, moving to Chelsea was the worst thing to happen to his career, because he looked like an unreal talent for us, and I think he. Do you know what? I think we sold him at the right time, even if it was just 15 million. Because I feel like we were going to get that Barkley, even if he wanted to stay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the point that he doesn't. I watched him. I think the only game I actually thought fair play,
Liverpool.
was the Liverpool game, and I don't know if that's just because he still claims to be a fan. And I don't know if that spurred him on, but to be fair, I'm one of the ones who holds a grudge. I think when you cheat your boyhood club out of 15 million, like Erwin said here, when you cheat your boyhood club that you're meant to be a massive fan of out of money for your big move, I think it highlights the personality that you have. And we've hired we signed too many players with this personality of they don't care. He's even worse than he sold the fans a dream. He really did sell fans. I'm an Evertonian. I could be something big for this club, and then did it. But his personality for me is that we need hard-working players who are going to prove themselves. And I don't know if he comes to us, because we'll pay him nice wages if he did. I don't know if he comes to us with the intention, to try and prove himself. But I think Barkley would just cause an absolute storm as well with the fans.
Do you know what I think my problem is? You can hear me, right? Because my mic did the talking about. Yeah, right. My problem is, right, if Ross Barkley comes in and produces at a high level, he's got that hunger, that determination to prove himself. No one's going to then go, he cheated, does that 15 million? You know what I mean? You're not, because if he comes in and produces, but I think that's my problem, is I can't sit there, because I know I'll sit there, slag Ross Barkley off for what he did. He'll join, be one of the best players in the league because I've said something. And it's football, isn't it? It's Everton are going to finish third this year because we think we're going to be awful. Everyone's like, crap, right off season, wait till next season. And it's just typical football. It's typical football. When you least expect it, something happens. If
we finish third, no one will see me again. I'll be out partying all day. All summer I'll spend absolutely bladdered if we finish third.
You know what? It is just typical Everton, though, isn't it? The one season no one expects anything from us is the season we do something.
Hopefully. I
think we'll be okay. I think we'll be better than we were under Carlo personally, but
I think we'll finish 12th to 10th. I think we'll finish in that gap there.
It's
which, to be fair, isn't an awful season.
no, I don't think 8th is a bad season. I think we're going to finish with Arsenal.
As long as we show signs as well of potential, I'd be happy with that.
This Everton team is going to grind out a lot more wins and be a lot more hardworking. I think we are going to see that. And I think a much more hardworking squad instantly puts us in a better position because last season, the squad showed what it was when it was hardworking for the first few games. I'm not saying it's going to repeat that, but the boys have shown that when they work hard, they can pull off results. 3-0 down against, was it 3 or was it 2-0? Against Manchester United, and we scored 2 goals in, was it 5 minutes?
Something like that. And the Tottenham game as well in the Cup, that was a game where I thought our heads could go, and we kept fighting till the end and pulled out a win. I thought that was a game where I thought, oh, geez, our heads are going to go down here and we're going to, let it go. But to be fair, the one thing I've noticed is this squad seems to have a little bit more of a fight. I mean, I've got here, Erwin says about Barkley, he said, like Rafa, it'd be the best move he could get back to home in high wages. That is the other worry I have. Realistically, Ross Barkley, if we put in a bid, we'd be the only club to. And then it comes a matter of, is he coming to us because he wants to, or is he coming because we are, we are going to offer him good wages. We're a good club, we're a good enough club as well. We're better than the Norwiches, the back end, the Newcastles. So, I mean, that would be my other worry with Barkley, is that we are the most attractive offer and he's just gone. He probably wouldn't be able to believe his luck. If Tuchel said, oh, Everton are coming in for you, he'd probably go, really? And then jump at it. I bet he wouldn't believe his luck if we were interested.
But at the same time, Barkley might want to prove himself. We don't know, I think that's the problem with football, isn't it? If you do something stupid, you're going to live to regret it for the rest of your life. It's like the Jack Grealish situation. Grealish has gone and said, I'll only leave Villa if someone pays £100 million. I'm sorry, but if a player goes, I'll only leave you if someone gives you £100 million, they're Aston Villa, man. And it's just unlike Barkley, Grealish is actually making sure his club gets the money.
Yeah, which is why I think I'm defending Grealish an awful lot when I see Villa fans slating, because I'm like, well, he could have forced his way out the club.
Let's put it simpler. If they didn't have Jack Grealish, they'd still be in the Championship. They'd have never come back up. Don't get me wrong, Tammy Abraham was unreal, or they'd have went down that season. Imagine that Villa team without Jack Grealish that first season back.
Yeah.
They'd have finished dead last with about 15 points. You know what I mean? Football fans are ungrateful. Every single one of us are ungrateful. I'm ungrateful. You're ungrateful. Everyone in that chat's ungrateful. We've all got short-term memory when it comes to football, and I think that's the problem. For example, if Leighton Baines would have done it, we'd have all done the same thing. We'd have all complained, Leighton, we gave you a platform to do this, that, and you do this when the project looks exciting. It's football. I don't blame Jack Grealish for looking out for himself. Why should Jack Grealish look out for Steve from Birmingham? I don't care you support.
I think the days of players staying at their clubs for the rest of their career are long gone. I think
you'll never get another Francesco Totti. You what? Or not in England, you what?
No, I think the days of players staying that long at a club are gone. Like Lukaku, to be fair, how many clubs he had in the last 5 years?
Unless you're like Phil Foden. I could see Foden doing it because Foden's at the top of football. Why would he?
But yeah, he's at the. Unless the Spanish clubs that normally can draw them away from England aren't what they used to be. So
you won't see exactly. We won't ever see for example, Lewis Dobbin.
We'll never get another Tony a bit.
Lewis Dobbin comes out of the academy, does unreal, becomes a goal scorer in the Premier League. He ain't gonna look at Everton and go, right, I'm finishing 8th every season. But Chelsea want to sign me. All right, yep, see you later. I'd do the same thing. I'm an Everton fan. I love this club. I'll always love this club. But I wouldn't do a Ross Barkley. But if a club came in for me and went, "Here's loads of money," you're going to be our key striker. I'd be like, "Yeah, see you later, lads." All Everton do is just sideways, 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 up, down, sideways, side. It's all it is. It's never ever since Moise has left. It hasn't been consistent upwards trajectory. It's been massively inconsistent. And I can understand why a player wouldn't do it, because in the end, a football player's got to preserve his own legacy. It's like Mateus Pereira leaving to Al Hilal.
Yeah.
Loads of people are complaining, but he said in a thing, I can, have financial security at 25. Yeah, I don't.
Surely though, there's Premier League clubs that would have given maybe not the money that they're getting, but
140
he's
grand a
saying,
week he's been offered.
but he's making it out like his family are looking at where the next meal comes from. Even if he was on 100 grand a week, or even 95 is nothing to choke at. Like for when they say stuff like that, it makes it scream like they're screaming poverty, and they never are.
They're not
Even if you're on
screaming
50K.
poverty, but at the same time, you've got to think about it. There is a massive difference between 90 and 140 grand a week. There's £50,000 difference per week, and in the end, what's he going to do? I guarantee you this: he's going to go to Saudi Arabia for a year, score loads of goals, leave for less money than he left West Brom for next season to a Premier League club. After having, and like, don't get me wrong, he'll still be as good as he was in the Premier League. He will, because in the end, I understand that people still look at it and go, it's Saudi Arabia, you're throwing your career away at 25. If I could leave for one season and get 150 grand a week and then come back and get 80 grand a week, I'd do it. I'd leave for the one season, dominate Saudi Arabia to the point where teams will be interested, and then come back and go, all right, lads, do you want me now? It's not ambitious, but at the same time, there are things that are more important than football in life, and I can understand setting yourself up for life for spending 9 months in Saudi Arabia. I can understand it.
Someone said there's more things important than money, though. I mean, if I was earning 90k at Everton and then some Saudi team said, I'll offer you 200, I think I'd probably stay at Everton. 90k is perfectly fine to live on for me. I live a modest life. I'd be happy to just stay at the club.
But we're Everton fans. Mateus Pereira's not a West Brom fan.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't push for him. He's a player that he's a player I'd have liked to see. I'm surprised we didn't push for him a little bit more, or any other Premier League club. To be fair, push for him that little
West
bit.
Ham were.
Well, West Ham. But to be fair,
West Ham weren't paying him 140 grand a week. When I think if Benrahma can get kicking, Benrahma can produce similar numbers to Pereira.
Yeah, I really like the look of Benrahma. I was a bit gutted when they got him from Brentford last season. He's a player. Eugene McGeevy has put, if Everton sign Messi, they'll win the Premier League. He's been tentatively linked with Everton. I don't think it's happening. If it is, then fantastic. But I'm just putting it out there. I think 0% chance of this happening.
If it happens, I'll get his face tattooed on anywhere in my body. I'm that confident.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm not that confident, but I'd probably sell. I'd probably spend all my time in the pub if we sign Messi. It'd be unreal. It'd be unreal, dreamland.
We'd probably actually have to give Messi 100% ownership of the club for him to even consider it. That is the funny thing. Arsenal signed Aguero to Messi and have been told, sorry, lads, you don't have enough money to keep him.
Well, apparently La Liga have said, haven't they, as well? They were like, if you are sticking with the Super League, then you lose Messi. If you stay, they'll increase the wage. The way La Liga works is odd because they did it with Brantford when they wanted Martin Brantford. They changed the rules to suit the top clubs because they're on about keeping Messi at all costs.
At least they're punishing a big club.
Well, I mean, I don't know. We say this, but imagine if the Premier League is saying now Liverpool couldn't afford Salah, and the Premier League were like, "Don't worry, we'll get the other clubs to try and chip in to keep him." I think the rage would be quite.
Yeah, but at the same time, if they're going, well, you can't afford him, we'll give you a chance, and then we're going because they asked the other clubs, and the other clubs said no. That's why.
Yeah, I think it's weird to ask the clubs though. I mean, at least, at one point,
think about this: they've just gone to Barcelona. Right, we'll see what we can do because in the end, you are going to. They are your biggest money makers, but them and Real Madrid. The money that club makes is stupid. Like they can get out of debt within 2 seasons off purely shirt sales and TV stuff. It's ridiculous. Like obviously, not anymore now that Messi's gone, but it's the idea of that. They've given them a chance. They've said, right, we'll see what we can. Because in the end, there is always going to be bias towards a top club. Because in the end, let's say if Everton become a top club at Bramley Moore, it'll start happening to us. Like people go, no, what Everton always get punished. It will. We'll start getting leniency because we bring in money. That's how unfortunately, that's how the world works, and it's unfair. But what are we to complain? We can't do anything about it, and it's the idea. At least Barcelona are not getting away with it. They spent too much money, and do you know what? They don't need a transfer ban. This is the biggest punishment they could get. The best player in football history can no longer stay at your club.
Yeah, well, Irwin said here, like Aguero signed for Barca, and I think the main thing that convinced Aguero was obviously him and Messi are very, very good friends. I think Messi's the godfather of Aguero's kid, isn't he? I think, or something like
Both
that.
ways, I think Aguero's the godfather of Messi's as well. They're best friends, yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. I was gonna say because Aguero calls him in his stream Twitch, when he's streaming on Twitch and stuff, which is mental. So it is a bit mad that Aguero's gone there, thinking he's going to team up with his best mate, and then obviously Messi's now gone. Yeah, see you later, lads.
I don't know where he's going to go.
I don't either.
PSG. It's got to be PSG.
Can't be City, but then PSG are like Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe all on silly wages.
Yeah, but Mbappe is going to leave next season as well. Remember?
Yeah, they reckon
Or
Madrid.
Mbappe might leave now. If they might sign Messi and go, does anyone want to pay for Mbappe while we can get money for him?
They reckon that Madrid are off putting their players on the hope that because his contract's on the way down, they can sort of get him on a Bosman, which would be signing Mbappe on a Bosman.
It's going to happen. He wants to play for
but that would be mental. That would change football that you can sign top players on a Bosman. Like we're on about Ross Barkley, who had us out of 15 million. Imagine if Mbappe went on a free.
That's what it is now. There's more goal for players in football, which in the is it good? Is it bad? I don't know, because in the end, I do like that players have more control over their own destiny and their own career. I also don't like, for example, I do not care if someone robs Man United of money. But if someone then robs Villa, Everton, a club like us, lower in the money scale, then it's kind of more, you're a slimy bastard. But, it's a bit weird. But at the same time, football's football. In the end, it wouldn't surprise me if Kane stays at Tottenham now because City signed Messi. Because in the end, Messi, if they got rid of like Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, and someone else, bang, there's the money for Messi afforded.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to be awkward for Kane, though, innit? Because apparently he's just full on going, I'm staying on holiday. There are the reports coming out that he's like, I'm staying on holiday until you sell me. So it'd be a bit awkward if he then has to grovel back going, I'm not going anywhere.
But sell the entire club and offer the money for Kane. We'll literally just have Harry Kane
and the under-23s.
And Richarlison.
Well, I was going to say, one of the players as well, Link, that we haven't spoke about is Tom Davies and the swap. I know someone put it in the chat the other day. Yeah, a swap for Sean Longstaff at Newcastle.
Oh, apparently. God, no.
That's been rumoured.
No, I'd rather have Davies. Sean Longstaff is unbelievably overrated. It's ridiculous. £50 million the geezer were getting linked to rumours for. Now they're rumoured for swapping him for Tom Dick. Like, I'm sorry, no, I'd rather have Davies.
I'd rather have Davies. I think he's improved massively as well over the last year.
Massively. He's passionate for the club and he's good to have in the dressing room.
And he does a lot for the community as well. He's
what's the point getting Sean Longstaff? Oh, he had a good shit rapper. He had a good 10 games for you.
I mean, I don't think he's like I was saying this before. I don't think he's any better than Tom Davies. I actually think he's a little bit worse.
Not much of an age difference as well.
Plus, which one's the better brother out of the two?
What's the point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced that would be the right move for us.
If Sean Longstaff was 2021 still, maybe. But he's 23. Tom Davies and him are the same age. We're literally swapping Tom Davies for Jordan Davies. What's the point?
I was going to say, like, him and his brother are quite highly rated, aren't they, at Newcastle? But I don't think.
If we were swapping him for Matty, maybe, because Matty's a bit younger.
Yeah, Matty Longstaff's 21. I'm convinced Tom Davies would die. I mean, and also he's been asked to do a difficult role because under Ancelotti he was asked to do, and I only mean this purely on the role. I'm not saying that their abilities but he was asked to do like a Pirlo job in that deep line playmaker role alongside Alan, and I don't think it's his best role. Tom Davies is. I think he's a little bit better going forward because his dribbling's actually pretty decent. But it was a role he was asked to do, and I thought he did all right. I thought he's had a solid season. He was one of our more solid players, and he looked like he cared. He does care. I imagine. He cares quite a lot. So
most improved. Who was it? Him or Callum were the most improved player, massively. You know what I mean?
yeah,
There was a clear difference in Tom Davies, and it was why he was given an opportunity. Unless Tom Davies wants to leave, which I can't imagine. I think Tom Davies has kind of accepted that he's a kind of a bench player, and he can get a run in the team on good form, but in the end it is. And he kind of knows Alan gets injured a bit, so he knows I've got a spot in the team. Obviously, unless Gaban takes it, but no, I can't see it.
He's only 23 as well.
I get that he would start for. Would he though?
I think he starts for Newcastle.
Him and Shelby, but
yeah, I'd start him over John Joe Shelby, but I don't know if that's just because I just mean
would Newcastle play him? Would Newcastle play him? It's weird. I don't know. I think Newcastle would have to start him, but I just don't. I can't imagine why, because I think Newcastle are going to go down. So
I think Tom Davies stays. To be honest, I think
100%.
I hope he stays anyway. Like I say, he's still quite young. Messi.
Don't man, it's going to be that picture where they're in the car park taking it's Nias.
Oh yeah, and they're like always editing someone's face on it.
Yeah.
I've got to see pictures of him on the county road, Thomas Frost spoons. Otherwise, you're lying. I've got to
he's
see
actually
pictures
applied
of that.
for a job there while he's waiting.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe he's not done his job.
Watch him now.
I don't think they. I hope not. That would see us. That'd see me off for football. I think
that'd be it. That'd be it for football. I won't be watching football anymore. I'd
have to take up hockey or something. I'd have to take up hockey.
Golf journalist or something. I don't even watch golf. I just anything else. It's just.
I think he goes PSG. In all honesty, I think they're the only ones that can afford the luxury that he's after.
Unless he goes back to Argentina, but why would he?
There's always rumours about him going to Inter Miami.
No, it's just because David Beckham owns it. Like, no, Inter Miami are like bottom in the MLS.
Yeah, I know. Phil Neville's bombing it, isn't he?
He's a bit of a stinker, is our Phil.
That's what happens when you give your mates jobs, I think. But yeah. Well, speaking of South American players, one of the ones we are linked with is Gabriel Barbosa. Apparently, his agents were at the Florida Cup and there were talks, but nothing serious, just a little chit chat. Someone you'd like, not like.
I am right. He's the same news who bombed it into Milan, wasn't it?
Yes, but has gone on to have a great. Yeah, that's what I mean. He blows hot and cold.
It was 40 million euros. Like, no. I get right. He's been good in Brazil, and technically the standard football in Brazil is really good. It is technical standards are really, really good. But I also think we'd have to start. I also think I don't know, because I think it's kind of like Richarlison going to Watford and then coming to us, isn't it? It's kind of like, is he going to come to Everton to go to a bigger club? It's no. Unless we can get him for really cheap, or we can offer them a swap for someone and they'll accept it. Because they can offer a bit bigger wages, like Douglas Costa's playing there now, I think, in Brazil.
I can't imagine who they
offer decent wages, and we can go, right, give us Barbosa, we'll give you 15 million, take Andre Gomez and deal with it. That's it. It's just like, do we have a Brazilian they might want? Who else? Is it just Richarlison?
Yeah, now we've got rid of Bernardo.
Like I said, we might be able to get rid of one of Portuguese lads. No. It's too much of a risk for that.
Yeah, if the price was right, I'd be, because like he's had. I'm looking at his season stats now, and according to this, it's like he played 18 in Inter, scored 2, went on loan to Benfica, couldn't get the ground running there, played 4, 0 goals. Then went to Santos and goals started flooding back in. Went to Flamengo on loan.
Can you get Copa Libertadores stats on there, or Sudamericana?
Yeah, I can get the Copa Libertadores. He scored against Racing. Then after that, didn't score, but he got an assist against Defensa and Justica. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's
so he's performing decently in the Copa Libertadores as well.
Yeah, I mean, in the group stages, he did really well. So
is he in the Olympics?
No, he's No, I think they're only allowed. They took Danny Alves, Richarlison, and someone else.
What is he not?
He's 24, so he'd have counted as an overage player. I mean, 24 though. I don't know if he's going to be one of those players that came to Europe maybe a little bit too young. A lot of hype around him.
It might be.
Pardon?
In the end, it's not his fault. He was like what?
No.
How old was he when he was at Inter?
He'd have been. I think he'd have either been 20 or 19. He's 24 now, and he was at Inter in 2016. So he'd have been like 18 years old, 19.
Inter were a mess at that time as well. Not for the big money that it's not for 40 million euros. I'd be happy for him if we can negotiate down to a decent price. But I'm happy to give the guy a chance, just not for too much money.
Yeah, I mean, we need. I do think it's not a priority, but I do think we need a backup striker. I think towards the end of last season, we were really pushing DCL, and he did look like he was struggling a little bit. No, well, not struggling, but he looked tired. I think that's fair to say.
I don't think it's a massive need because at the same time, if he gets injured, Richarlison just moves in, and then we use Gray or Townsend.
Yeah, it's not a massive, and like we've got. Well, I was going to say we've got youth, but it looks like Ellis Sims might go to Blackpool again in January.
Yeah,
which I'd be all for.
Just got Tyrese John Jules, haven't they, from Arsenal?
Yeah, I hope he does go to a championship club. I think he needs. He can't sit in the under-21 scoring for free.
And he's not going to score in the under-23. He's not. Dobbin looks like he's the one that the club's setting up now to be the big under-23s forward.
Yeah, I mean, his stats, Ellis Sims' stats for the under-23s are silly. I think I read the other day.
That season, he's got 40 somewhat goals or something.
Yeah, and he's up there with like the likes of Michael Owen for most goals at a youth level, and it's crazy when you look at it. So I'm hoping he does go. They played for the under-23s for a bit and scored 17, but like you said, it's the under-18s that he really shone in. I hope he does go back to another, championship club. I think that's the level that he needs to push at because he played 24 and scored 10 at Blackpool, which
he was unreal. And he was off the bench most games as well. He scored in the playoff final as well, didn't he? Or playoff semi-final.
Playoff semis. He was injured for the final, unfortunately.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So he's proven he can be. I think Blackpool might sign him. But I think Blackpool might want him permanently. I think that's the problem. I
don't think the club are going to gamble on a permanent. I think we see his value. If not, though, I'm sure there'll be other clubs that are looking at him potentially.
Preston really need a striker, I think. And Preston aren't too far from us either. So
no, although they had Anthony Gordon this season and didn't get many chances. Cedric Bossman said Messi to Chelsea confirmed. Is that actually confirmed, or is that his prediction?
I don't think so anyway. I hope not.
I was going to say it'd be a weird hour because he's only just announced that he's defo going, hasn't he? That'd be a weird hour. Tom D's put McNeil's nothing special.
Yeah, because all I know is Grealish has just happened, like officially now. Like Grealish is officially a Man City player now, but besides that, no. Messi will. I don't know. Chelsea's a possibility now, actually, the more I think about it.
If he goes there, Lukaku surely doesn't follow.
I don't know. They've got. Because think about it, then they can offload Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic. The depth in that squad's stupid. Like, they've got bench players worth like 35 million. Like, Kovacic was in the Premier League team of the season a few years ago, wasn't he?
How much do you reckon he's going to be in Fantasy Premier League?
I don't know, but however much he's getting put in.
I reckon he's going to be like 50 mil in the Fantasy Premier League.
He'll be the most expensive player.
Salah and De Bruyne are like 12.5, aren't they?
He'll be like 14 mil. I bet he's worth every penny. It's Lionel Messi, man. This guy's best player of all time. I feel like, hey fellas, we need signings quick but quality. Yeah, Sarah P. I completely agree. I think we. What's the thing? Do you know what I won't mind? I won't mind if we've got, which is also very possible, we've got a big list of transfers and we're going, let's play our first game of the season against Southampton and see what really stands out. Because didn't we do that with Mina Digne where we waited until the end and then bang, bang, bang?
Yeah, I think we did. I mean, I can tell them now, though, where we might need to improve, to be fair. If they're waiting to see against Southampton.
Because knowing us, we're all going, Seamus Coleman's not got it anymore. He's going to be best right back in the league next season or something stupid like that.
I mean, even then, though, like I think right back is one that I'd really be happy with. And then everywhere else is just, it would be nice. Like a right winger would be nice. A centre mid would be nice. Although I don't know why we're pressing for a centre mid, because you've just mentioned Shabamin's back. Like,
We
and
need
he's having a really
progressive
good
midfielder.
Yeah,
Correa can be progressive, but he's not progressive enough. We need someone who can get the ball from midfield to attack. And it looks like James isn't going to be here, so who can progress the ball from midfield to attack. Someone with an engine. Nunes looks like that. It doesn't look like we're going to get him. Rabiot we were linked with before Ancelotti left.
I'm glad we didn't get Rabiot. I don't think he's...
I rate him. I think he's a good player. I think he played well for... I think he played for France. Yeah, he played pretty well for France. Got put in at right back and did a shift, I'm pretty sure, as well. New right back, Adrien Rabiot.
I quite like... I mean, we even then, though, if we sign a ball carrier, what are we going to do with... Bearing in mind he plays this 4-2-3-1. What are we going to do with the other 6 midfielders that aren't going to get games? Fabian Delph is unfortunately still on the wage list. He's something needs to happen that way.
Apparently, he's leaving. I think he's guaranteed.
Well, the Liverpool Echo reported today that the Nunes deal is halted because Benitez has looked at it and gone, we need midfielders to leave, aka Fabian Delph to leave. We can sign.
Delph wants to leave, don't he?
I think so, but I mean, I don't know. Can he play if he's not vaccinated? That's a whole. That's hopefully not.
Shouldn't be able to.
That's hopefully not our problem.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, it's your choice. But if you're Fabian Delph and you don't want to get vaccinated, punish him for it. Don't let him play. Tell him that. Tell the Premier League can tell us, right, because Fabian Delph's not getting vaccinated, you can release him on a free without having to pay the rest of his contract.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Norwich and Watford want him, don't they?
Yeah, apparently Watford do. I think that's his level. Up, just newly promoted, could go back down. I think that's his level.
I think he's a bit better than that. I just think he's a lazy prick. He was good for City. Look at it, he was really good for City when he slotted in. He just does it. He just joined us. I think he played for a bit and he was okay, and then he just put down tools because he realised it was a sinking ship. Like when we lost to City, not the 5-0, it was the Cup, where Virginia was in goal, and he went around high-fiving all City players afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. He's a man that never can convince me. When we signed him, I wasn't ecstatic. I didn't think brilliant. I
liked it,
No, for the price he was,
8 million, and he looked really good for City. It's just typical, isn't it?
It's a story as old as time, though. We go out and buy somebody who's at the later end of their career, thinking that they're going to do something, and they sit there going, "I'm earning such a good, sweet wage here." It's a story as old as time. When we were linked with him, I thought that's such old.
It's fine, because in 5 years' time, we're going to sign Grealish. It's destiny. Gareth Barry, Fabian Delph.
Well, I mean,
30-year-old Grealish paying him 200 grand a week.
5 years. Sarah, people, who do you fancy? I mean, it depends on the positions. I really wanted Dumfries. Really wanted. I wanted Max Aarons, like Sean Collins said. There's a number of players I'd rack off. There's a lot of players I want. Realistically, I mean, I really wanted a right back. Maybe a striker, but I wasn't convinced because we were linked with Schick for ages. But apparently that was 40 million, and I'm sure that's because he's had a good Euros, and he has had a good Euros. But, yeah, I mean,
there's loads of them, man. There's loads of them. Yerry Mina to us.
Yeah.
Or was it Yerry Mina to Barca after the World Cup?
No, it was Yerry Mina to us, I think.
Yeah, it's just James to Real Madrid or James to Monaco or wherever it was.
After a major tournament is the worst, and that international is the worst time to buy, because one, players look better than they are, and two, every
done for 15 million.
Yeah, but even then, apparently we can't get him now because PSV have decided to change the boundaries a little bit and go, we want a little bit more, which apparently we always thought about. What about St. Maximin from Newcastle? I think he's going to cost a lot. I think St. Maximin's
40. If McNeil's 40, Maximin's 50.
I like him though. He's fast, he's skillful.
He's everything we need, but where are we going to get 50 million from?
He's one of the only people in that Newcastle squad that when he gets the ball, I think, now this could be something for Newcastle. Anyone else, I'm like,
him, Wilson, Willock, but Willock's not
yeah,
there anymore.
you know what I mean? Like, there's only a select few in that squad that I think have got real, could change the game in a heartbeat, and he's one of them. Yeah, I quite like him. Damien Hagen's starting to panic a bit with the lack of signings. If we get into the season, how aren't we doing nothing?
It happened. This is what happened with the Digne Mina transfer window, though, wasn't it? We literally signed no one until the end of the window.
I mean, I'm not panicking because I think we will do something.
I think it's just because everyone around us is doing the business now, so we're panicking. Don't panic until like the last 2 weeks of the window. Don't, because look at what we did. We signed Gomez, Digne, Mina, and someone else, didn't we? All within the last week of the window, or the last few days. Do you know what season it was? Because I can Google it right now and it'll tell me the dates.
It was about 4 seasons ago now, wasn't it?
It'll have been 18-19, won't it?
Yeah.
Because after the World Cup.
Feels like, mate, this whole last season with what's going on in the world, everything feels like time is just...
Yeah, well, we signed Richarlison, Mina, Digne and Gomez all towards the end of the window. Earlier on in the window was when we got bloody Zuma on loan and Bernard on a free.
Bernard.
It looked good at the time.
Yeah. I mean, now that I know what wages he's on, though, it looks silly. Like, if no one had ever told me the wages, it's like it'd have been like a little bit easier. Now I know the wages he was on. It's mad. If we could get Leao and Correa and perhaps a better centre back, we'd be better off, and a right back. Rafael Leao was linked with us for a while.
He still is. Someone came out literally about 2 days ago saying AC Milan want 20 million for him. I'd pay that 20 million.
Yeah. I mean, I think we were banking on selling Moise Kean a bit though. But apparently Benitez has said he's happy for him to stay. He's one player that Benitez is.
He played really well against Pumas.
Yeah, really well. But it's mad that he wants Moise Kean to stay, and you were on about Rodriguez and his defensive attributes, because I still can't get over the time Moise Kean was ripped back off the field by Dunk for just not doing what he was asked to do.
At the same time, though, I think Dunk ripped him off because in the end he brought him on to Time West.
Yeah, I mean, I get, but he looked like he was fuming at him for whatever reason. I think it was a bit of tough, like Duncan Ferguson was aiming for.
I think the problem is with Duncan Ferguson, he's so angry and so passionate that sometimes you have got to look at it and be like, right, Dunk, mate, you need to chill out a little bit, mate. You know what I mean? Bloody. I can't get it though, because he's a child. When we signed him, he's literally a child. He's barely older than me.
Well, he's one of those that throw, like, I really like Moise Kean. I think he has the potential to be good. But then but I don't know if I like him just because I like him. Because then when I think back, I watched him against Salford in a couple of games he played in the League Cup, and the fact that he can hold the ball up, he can't hold the ball up to save his life, which is how Everton play. We play, with we had Lukaku, we did the same. DCL now, we play with the striking and the hold up the ball. And he very much reminds me of someone who's got to be in front of him. Maybe he'll be better off on the wings.
He might even play 4-4-2.
Possibly. He might stick him out on the wings. I think when he was at Juventus, he played left wing for a little bit.
He was weird. It was like a rotating role. So he'd start in striker and then he'd move around. The PSG front three is really weird. It switches around a lot. But it's just... I remember him against Bournemouth. I know we lost the game on the last day of the season. But... I felt so bad for him because the amount of times he ripped the Bournemouth defence apart and then had to try to do it all himself. Like, my microphone is down the toilet today, but yeah, I think Moise Kean, keeping him.
Everyone bear with, we're having a bit of technical difficulties.
I hope it ain't broken, man. I hope I'm like stood on. Do you know what? I think I'm stood on the wire. I am stood on the wire. I think that's the problem. Right. I think it's fine keeping Moise Kean, and I think unless we can get for around 40 to 50 million, we should keep him there.
Yeah, I'm happy to keep him unless the price is right. I think he shows in his moments that there is, a raw talent. Someone put it about Hudson-Odoi when you mentioned it. They're a raw talent, and it's just nurturing that talent. Same with Hudson-Odoi. I think there's a raw talent in there that's very good. I just don't think Chelsea are very good at nurturing young talent. Chelsea are very much the club like Lukaku now, where see you later, and then we'll just throw money at you in 4 years, 6 years time when you've developed. Because
we are a club that can develop youth, though. I think
yeah,
it's something we've always been
definitely
pretty good at. Like Moise Kean's an exception, but if you give Everton young English talent, it usually blossoms. I'm trying to think of someone who didn't.
I mean, I wouldn't write Moise Kean off just yet either.
No, that's what I mean. The guy's 20. He's 21 in here.
I think is he 21 or 20? And like we're only thinking of. I think the club are only thinking of selling him because PSG and because he wants to go, which is the other major issue with him though is does he want to be here? He's 21. I mean, does he want to be now that Paris Saint-Germain aren't going to put the money up for him? Maybe that's changed his view on life a little bit.
He might look at it and go, clearly you don't want me as much as we want. And then Rafa saying, we're keeping him unless this money's paid because we want him. It might make him feel valued. I don't think he felt valued under Ancelotti, under Ferguson, which I understand. He didn't. The lad was barely given a proper opportunity, and I understand it because he wasn't producing massively, but neither was Calvert-Lewin until Dunk came in. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a difficult situation.
I do think that, like you said, clearly, if his heart was to go to PSG, if they're not putting up the money for you, I mean, I don't mean this to sound brutal, but they clearly don't rate him as much as they would because it's not a club that is tight on money. You know what I mean? If they really wanted him, they could have him. They don't value him enough to have him on a permanent, straight away. And also, I think PSG they're just trying to push their luck with us. I think they look at us and go, well, we can push your luck here, but hopefully
we just again, we can do it again.
Yeah.
We've done the best thing. We've sat and laughed at him and gone, no, there's no you can do about it. And now it looks like we've convinced Kean to stay, at least for another season.
Yeah, which I'd be happy with because if we can sell him for we'd have to make the money back. We'd have to sell him for 40 plus. We'd have to make.
I wouldn't even at 50 plus. And one good season with us, 15 goals in the league, maybe.
Yeah.
Not even that. Do you know what? I bet you could do 16, 17 goal contributions in the Premier League. And then PSG, now then that they've got money and after losing Mbappe, they'll be like, here you go, 56, and they'll start panicking because it's what PSG do.
If they lost Mbappe, they'd be I think they'd panic a bit then. I mean, Inter Milan, if they lose Lukaku, if they genuinely are looking at Moise Kean as Lukaku's replacement,
I kind of get it because he's young and Italian, and if it is a young rebuild, with
younger
players giving academy players a chance, maybe then I can get it. But at the same time, listen, if they want to get 120 million euros from Chelsea, which is about 100 million pounds,
they've got Martinez, though, haven't they? They've still got Lantoro and Martinez,
but I think they play two up front.
Ah, right. Well, yeah,
and I'm guessing they do because Martinez and Lukaku both had good seasons. So
yeah.
So I can imagine they'll do. And listen, if they want to pay 50 million for Moise Kean, listen, I like Moise Kean, but go for it.
It's what the price is coming in for him that really heavily. Like if they're going to throw silly money at us, we're not going to say no to silly money. But
we won't get Ivan Toney unless Brentford go down. Don't be silly. Why would he leave? Why would Brentford sell him? Brentford are in the big leagues now. Why would they sell him? Ivan Toney would have left to play Premier League football. Why is he going to leave now? Then I think Brentford stay up. I think they do a good season. Maybe next season we can get him. Right now, I think look, there's not a single rumour about him now that they've come up.
No, and it was before he came up. There was loads of links with him.
Us, Leicester, mainly, I remember.
Yeah, you got to be. The only thing I will say about Brentford strikers is you've got to be careful because I feel like sometimes how they do it with the XG and stuff, you can suit a system. So like Neil Moipai is a prime example of that.
Scott Hogan's another one.
Yeah, I mean they sold Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins is different because he's done well at Villa, but Brentford seems to do really well at picking strikers. But like we said before, they use XG massively. And obviously it pays off for them because every other striker they've had seems to be able to hit the ground running at Brentford at least.
It's
Better
when you're
wage.
making that many chances in the Championship as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I am really curious to see how they do this season. Hopefully they do well, but I'm curious.
I think they will.
I think they do better than Norwich, just because I don't think Norwich are fully there. I mean, better wage. Not currently. I don't think. I think with financial fair play, we're a little bit stringent this summer.
Everton wages. Give me a second.
I mean, he's made a good point though. Callum Wilson from Bournemouth. They've been
Moise
happy.
Kean's only getting 50 grand a week. Would we be paying Tony less than 50 grand a week? We'd be paying him around 40. So we'd be 10 grand less on wages. You know what I mean? I know we need money, but we're not that desperate.
Well, I mean, he made a good point though. Callum Wilson, I'd have took him when he went from Bournemouth.
I wish we did.
Yeah.
They only paid 20 million as well.
And I think we're the more, well, no, I know we're the more attractive offer than Newcastle.
Anything's more attractive than every single club in the Premier League right now is more attractive than Newcastle.
I can 100% put my, hand on heart. We are the more attractive of the two there. But I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda, and it's one of those where we unfortunately we didn't get him, and now.
I don't think I think we had faith in Calvert-Lewin, and I mean, he repaired our faith.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, now you look at it, and we've got a good striker now, haven't we? So.
I think he can't. The thing is, though, Callum Wilson can play in a 2 with a hold-up, so I do get it. If we would have signed him then and then played them both together, I think it'd. But then Richarlison, it's just if we're signing a striker, sign a backup. Don't sign someone who's going to start belting in goals, and then we have to start panicking because one of them wants to leave now because it's just going to be, I think, a clear backup who can score goals in the Premier League. Maybe I'm trying to think of someone who went down. West Brom, Fulham, and Sheffield United. No, they haven't really got anyone. That McGoldrick was good, but he's old as well.
Yeah, McGoldrick was like one of the only players that is a good player. They were ripped off with Ryan Brewster. I'm glad you didn't say Ryan Brewster.
I think he's going to score goals this season. I think he's going to really score goals. Yeah, but to be fair, I don't
want to slate the Championship, but he was never going to keep them in the Prem when they bought him and for big money as well. It was a lot of money for Sheffield. That.
Yeah, it's difficult though, isn't it? Because you saw what he did for Swansea, and then.
One of them. Pereira was ace. I really would have liked us to get Pereira. It's a shame. Well, maybe we will in a season when he comes back. Maybe he'll ditch the Saudis and come back to us.
All that Saudi money coming in, Damien says stop talking over each other. I don't think it's really difficult to not talk over each other.
I was going to say Zoom streams us so much.
It's
hard to gauge.
Look, because we have to anticipate when the other one's going to talk instead of just. We're not presenters. We're not experts at this. Well, we try not to speak over each other, but it's difficult because of the delay on Zoom and stuff like that, and it's just a pain in the ass.
Jabs has put here, I'm more concerned about the layabouts. I think he means whereabouts, although he might mean layabouts. Layabouts like Delph, he does, that won't leave. I mean, that I don't think it's more that Delph won't leave. I think it's nobody wants him. Well, apart from Norwich and Watford, but I think it's more that he's not, and will Fabian Delph, the ego on him, will he want to go to a Watford or Norwich? Because I think he, in his head, thinks he's better than that level. But if they're the only clubs coming in,
I don't know. I think because in the end, as well, I'm guaranteeing you, him saying he's an anti-vaxxer made teams drop interest.
Yeah,
him being an idiot and saying, "Oh, I'm not getting vaccinated because just shut up, mate. Get the vaccine." You don't complain when you get a malaria jab, do you? You muppets, to stop complaining.
I think he's heavily dropped the club a little bit in it, and he puts us in a tough spot if he can't play because he's not been vaccinated. That leaves us in a real tough spot. I mean, I feel like I don't want to be negative, but I feel like Fabian Delph's going to wait out his contract and run it down.
we
I've got
might
this
be able
horrible
to
feeling.
terminate it. We might be able to come to an agreement, give him a bit of compensation and terminate it. So it's just, we'll see. But in the end, I think Delph goes. It might even be just a loan. But
I mean, if that helps get his like, if they're willing to pay his wages for a year, I'd happily see him go out on loan and then.
Even if they don't pay all of it, pay 75% of his wages and take him.
Yeah, like
we'll give you a 50p option to buy.
Again, problem is that who wants him other than the two clubs, and will he go to those two clubs? It's a tough one. I mean, ideally, I'd say put him in the shop window, but I think is he still carrying a knock?
I don't know, and I don't care, to be honest with you.
Because I've not seen him at any of the I don't think I've seen him play in the friendlies.
He played in one. He played against Blackburn, which was before the incident happened. And then he started complaining about the incident, even though he was playing when the incident apparently happened, which means it would have been impossible for him to get the blame for the incident. To put it simply, Fabian Delph's an idiot. And I'm sorry, Toffee Blues, if this ruins an interview for you one day, but that man is a fool. Like, I said this on the Blue Boys Network as well. The guy's stupid. And it's like, you're a good footballer, mate, but stick to football. Because when it comes to medical stuff and that, you're not there.
According to football, he's injured with COVID-19. I don't know how realistic that is. I don't know if they're just taking the mick now, but
Please,
I mean,
I'm Googling that. Please tell me Delph's got COVID after refusing to get that. Fabian Delph.
I don't know if they're just taking the mick, but it says here that he was meant to come back in early August, so he'd be all right now, 2 weeks. But there is a certain irony in.
Do you know what? No, I think it did happen. I'm sure I remember it.
Well, Yako Ovia said he missed the tour because of precautionary stuff. I don't know if COVID, potentially having COVID-19 is a precautionary, but there is a slight irony in all of that.
He's an idiot. He's an idiot, and I do hope he sees these one day and hears me calling him an idiot, because he is. He's a fool. I don't care. I'll bite the bullet for it. I'll bite the bullet of possibly not getting to work for Everton to call that man an idiot, because he is, and it's just, why are you endangering everyone? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm getting the vaccine because I'm willing to get ill from the vaccine instead of getting the virus and then giving it to like a grandparent or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what the club are going to do with him. Jobs here has put we're linked with Nunes again, even though Everton said they have never been interested in him and they had no interest in Bailey. Delph's on 4.6 mil. Yeah, Nunes is one that apparently there was a Portuguese journalist who said the deal was done. Everton had signed it ages ago, and then all of a sudden today it was like it's nowhere near done as people think it is. I feel like just because he was linked with us and when Nuno was there was big interest. The journalists, the media are sort of spinning that it was, it's literally a matter of Everton just need to get the transfer right in terms of money. But
we don't have the money. Like you said, it might be what we've done is we've dealed everything, got ready to announce him. They've looked at the books and been like, oh, we're going to have to delay your transfer because we can't sign you because of our wages right now. And so it might mean Gomez. It might be that we might have changed the offer then to go, do you want to take Gomez off us so we can actually sign him? And then they've gone, no, why would we do that when you've already offered us a cash deal that we've accepted? So yeah. It's just, I don't know. That's why I think Mina, he's considering getting rid of Mina. Because not to disrespect Mina's talents, he's fantastic, but just too much money. He makes way too much money.
Yeah, I mean, he just... Chris Bess has asked here, he said he lives next door to Finch Farm and the facilities are top class. He said, what stops a player signing, a crew of a signing? Who was it that we had in a building? A French guy.
French guy?
I don't know how long ago. Was this summer? Unless he... No.
He's not... No, he won't be on about Gaultier, will he?
No, because apparently we didn't push for Gaultier at all when we were linked with that. Like, apparently he was a consideration, but Everton never really pushed for him.
So I think it's a signing then?
Possibly, yeah. It could be a couple of seasons ago now, to be fair. I think Delph's a championship player now and he should go to Blackpool in the summer transfer.
Blackpool, that's stupid.
Oh, Chelsea for Olivier Giroud. He means Giroud.
Was it? We had Giroud in Finch Farm.
Yeah, he means Olivier Giroud. I don't know. Apparently, to answer the question, apparently the rumours are Olivier Giroud didn't come because his girlfriend really, or his wife, it's probably his wife, really likes London and wants to
Of
stay in the
course she does.
capital, and she didn't want to come to Liverpool, which is really an awful way to sort of appeal to the fan base as well. But apparently, that's why he's always linked with Milan and Paris. He wanted to go to PSG, I think, last season. Was trying to push for that. She wants him to go to the capitals of the world, not Milan. I called Milan the capital the other day in a video. But
no.
It's a big city. I know, it's a big error. Big error. And someone mentioned it. Someone did correct me. I was like, oh dear.
Rome, innit? Rome is the capital, innit?
Yeah. Yeah, I just meant Milan is a big. I was thinking, fashion, Paris, London, Milan, that sort of, the song sort of thing, and said capital.
Oh, don't man, on capital, I'm awful. I just
it
think
is the capital of fashion. Like if I was going off
capital, I just think of biggest city and instantly just think that's the capital. Like there's a few that it's like. I'm trying to think of the country.
Barcelona and Madrid catch people out.
There's one country where they've got a massive city, but it's not the capital. And it's just you are not medical professional either. Quit 70%, 6% of all new cases are jabbed twice. Yeah, but of course they are. It's a vaccination. It doesn't permanently get rid of it. Of course it doesn't. It's like you can, if you get a malaria jab, you can still get malaria. You know what I mean? It's like the entire point of a vaccination is, I'm not a science expert, but it's so your white blood cells can develop antibodies, which can then stop the likeliness of getting the virus or making the virus bad. I'm not a medical professional. I got a 4 in science, which is a C. But at the same time, it's common sense, isn't it? You don't have to get the vaccine, but if you're a professional footballer who should be setting standards to younger people, then yeah, in the end, listen, you don't have to go public about it. If you don't want to get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine. But you don't have to spew to, I think it was them as well, the scum, about how you don't want to get it. It's cool. You just don't have to make that public, do you? It's common sense, That's what I feel like a lot of the problem with people nowadays is everything has to go on social media. I'm not getting vaccinated. I don't care. You know what I mean? Listen, mate, if you don't want to get vaccinated because you don't like it, cool. I don't care. But in my opinion, you don't have to make it as public as Fabian Delph has. You know what I mean?
I think Scooter rides that. I think Scooter. We'll leave the vax because it's it's Everton. But before, on the last unrelated note, Canberra, Sydney. That was the one you're thinking of.
That's
it. But Eugene's asked here, do you think we'll sign Kurt Zouma in the transfer window? Do you know what? I'd ask Chelsea if they're interested in a loan with an option to buy again.
Yeah. So we'll pay the 25 million.
The option to buy.
Unless we can get rid of Mina.
Well, apparently Mina was one of the players that Benitez was looking to offsell. I really like Yerry Mina, to be fair. I think he's a good defender. I was happy for him to stay. But if we do get rid of him, I don't know if centre back is an awful priority at the minute, just because he's going to play 2 and we've got 4 if you include Holgate. Maybe what he's going to do next year if we don't get a right back is he's going to stick Mason Holgate back at right back. Or Ben Godfrey, because that's what Ancelotti did.
The problem with Mason is he seems like he's really good for the dressing room. Which is I did want him to go at first, but I've seen the stuff and I'm like, his wages aren't huge and he looks like he's a good thing for the dressing room. So
yeah, Godfrey would be good at right back, right for the pace aspect, but I don't know how good he'd be at whipping in a ball.
We need someone who can swing a crossing.
Yeah, we need someone who's got a nice bit of delivery on them. But I think centre back. I know we're linked with loads of centre backs. We're linked with Demiral. I think that's one. Yeah. We're linked with him from I think it's Juve, and they've openly said they're willing to sell him. But again, it's not a position that I think because we're linked with Longley, Small. We've been linked with so many centre backs. Phil Jones was another one I remember we were linked with a couple of weeks ago. It's all coming. All the videos are coming flooding back now with all the rumours. Phil Jones was another one. We've been linked with a lot of centre backs. Sal Holgate, we've got Godfrey, and we need another We need pace down the wings and a backup for D. So, yeah, I'd happily have some pace down those wings. I know Damari Gray's fast, and apparently in the pre-season friendlies, Damari Gray's actually been one of the standouts.
Yeah, he was
which
really
is good.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, is it not the Pumas game? Well, he played well in that, but it was the other one as well. Minieros. Apparently, he played all right in that one as well. The Minieros one.
Will it have been Pumas because he scored he got.
He scored a penalty.
I don't know if he won it. He scored a penalty.
No, Moise Kean, I think.
Kean won it. Yeah, Kean won it. Gray scored it. Gray scored in the penalty shoot. Yeah, it was. It will have been Milanaros then.
Yeah, I mean, but apparently he's just had a really good, and when he gets the ball, he runs. He's very direct, which is another thing we need. Not just pace, we need direction. There's so many wingers that I see that run, and then we get into sort of backtracking. And Iwobi's one. I don't think he's got a forward direction, which is one of his major negatives. You could let him off if he had some sort of direction. Broadhead won it out. Broadhead won it.
Yeah, you did.
Apparently, Broadhead's had another. Well, again, I didn't watch them because I've got work, so I can't watch the late games because of the time difference. Yeah, but Broadhead, I have heard, played really well in the preseason.
Started the second game. Again.
Yeah, apparently he's had a really good preseason. Well, that opens the book. So maybe we're going to give, because apparently Rafa Benitez has been in the academy quite a bit now. At Finch Farm, I think it's the report said the other day he's been there at least weekly. It might have even said daily, but he's been watching a lot of the youth lads. Maybe he looks at Broadhead, Anthony Gordon, and he thinks it's about time. I think it is for some players. It's about time we start seeing them either break into the full team or go out on loan where there will be full team players. So you never know. Broadhead is one that I'd quite like to see him at least in cup games, or sub appearances. You know what I mean? I'd like to see him.
Well, yeah,
he'd only just signed a new contract, didn't he? I swear.
So if he's 23, he needs to start getting moved into the first team. You can't have him getting 24, 25 and still playing under 23s. But if you give him a chance in first team or sell him, it's that simple, really.
Damari scored the equaliser. He's popped the pen in as well. Good youth go. Yeah. Chris Bez said that. Gray's penalties were good as well. I watched the highlights in the morning. Gray's penalties were good. A couple of the lads' penalties were good. I was quite impressed with Shabamin's. It's a very calm and collected roll in.
John Joe Kenny's as well. Kenny chipped the keeper
and then winked at the camera. I mean, there were no words when I saw that. I was like, wow.
No, Begovic as well.
Yeah, Begovic was impressive for a keeper. There's no stopping that, was there?
I know what's it with us and signing keepers who can actually take penalties.
I know. I'm gutted. Do you know what? One of the most gutting things about the final for the Euros is that apparently Pickford was one of the next ones to take a pen, and I was really, really curious to see just how good he was at them. But it's
the Rashford one that hurts, man.
Yeah,
it's because I feel so bad for him because he sends the keeper and you can see what he's trying to do, and it's just he places it off by centimeters, and it hits the post.
Jordan Pickford, though, absolute hero, absolute hero. What a guy!
England's player of the tournament, him or Sterling.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, do you know what? I'm not even going to say that. There's a lot of players.
And then but yeah, there's a lot. This summer, I think it's just going to be I think anyone, a couple of the people saying about panicking, I feel like maybe it is like you said, we're going to wait. I think this summer's transfer window is going to be a little bit drawn out. I think it's going to be a long summer. It has been a long summer. This has been a really weird summer, like from Ancelotti leaving to just, it's been a really weird summer at Everton. But I feel like it's going to be a long summer as well. Which hopefully leads to a good season. All the pain in the summer. Chris Beza said, I hope Shabamin stays fit. Don't want to speak too soon, but he looks class, calm on the ball. Yeah, he's been really impressive. I feel like because he's been injured, people forget he's going to be like a new signing. I feel like we hardly saw him, and he's going to feel like a brand new signing. And I'm excited to see him play because when he came from Mainz, I saw people saying he was good. But he was tired. When he played that first game for us, apparently he played in the African Cup of Nations, so was carrying a bit of tiredness. And then obviously got injured and then injured again. And it was just, a complete disaster. And I feel sorry for the fella because, I mean, how unlucky can you get?
No, it's ridiculous. But he looks good in pre-season as well. So it's just, I understand pre-season's pre-season, but at least he's looking good. You know what I mean? So it's at least he can give us some hope that maybe he can do something for us.
Yeah, he's another one as well. Balls go forward with him. There's a lot of balls coming forward. I've written off this season. Hopefully, we can bounce back next financial fair play through.
I think a lot of us have.
Philip Mason. Yeah, I mean, will financial fair play still be a thing in next year's? Because you meant to balance the books over 3 years, aren't you? Is it? Will it restrain us next year?
Because it'll be 18, 19, 19, 20, 2021, I think, or it'll be 19, 20, 2021. So next season it should be I think it should be a refresh, or it'll be, I think it might be 19, 20, 2021. I don't know, but I think it's a 3-season thing and then it kind of refreshes. I think next season might be one of the refreshes.
It'd be interesting to see what we do next. Like if where the club's at next season, it'll be interesting to see what we do that summer. We might
spend a lot of money. I think we'll personally spend over 100 million.
I think because of this window being a bit tougher, I think they are just going to throw money next season at it and go mad.
He had a war chest for Rafa as well, but then we got hit by FFP. So then that money.
He said it for Ancelotti as well. Apparently, before he left, Ancelotti was going to get this absolute backing that saw no end. Apparently, Everton were really going to go out with intention. So it is just financial fair play that's really stumped us here.
Yeah, so next season we could spend. Well, yeah, I don't know though, because in the end, us with money, it worries me. It really does. I don't have enough faith in the club to spend 40 million on a signing in it for it to be good. Like the only good ones for that much has been Richarlison, or for 30. I'm trying to think who we signed for 30 million plus. Richie Gilfay. Is that it?
I think it.
Iwobi. I think with add-ons goes over 30.
God, yeah, Iwobi. I forget just how much we paid for him.
This one's important. Eugene, what are the requirements for fan returns? Please don't tell me I have to be double vaccinated. Can I just have like a negative test? Because I'm planning on getting a ticket tomorrow, hopefully. So waking up at 9 a.m, or even earlier to make sure I can get these tickets straight away. But knowing Everton, they'll say I don't have a membership. Sorry, lad. Even though I just bought one. It does it all the time. I'll look at something on the website and it'll say you're not a member, and then I'll go into my purchases and it'll be like, oh, you've purchased a membership for the season. Right. I think I got a notification on Twitter from Everton. I'm guessing that's.
Well, I'll have a quick look at what the announcement. They've got to stay within the guidelines of the Premier League anyway, for what the Premier League have set out, haven't they? So it'll be interesting to see what they've put.
I've got the tweet here. Well, I thought I did. Oh, there you go. Oh, don't do this to me, man. There you go. Blues prepare for fans return. This is just the segment. It's all season ticket. Blah 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 blah. Fans can link their vaccination record. As part of the minimise this, a fellow guardian should be preferred. Oh, here we go. Or vaccination status or proof of a negative test within 48 hours. Cool. I'll just get one the day before.
Yeah, and it's just says.
I don't know how it works. Do you have to get one in person, or because to be honest, I haven't done many. But and then what? You can like scan the QR code on top of the thing, can't you? And then on your app or something, I don't know. And it tells you. I don't go outside enough to get COVID symptoms.
You can have a lateral. I've only done the lateral flows, and you just it comes up, and you've got to sign it off. Chris Bears, we don't know on that certain individual. We're just not
until proven guilty, so it'll still be on the wage bill until proven guilty.
We're just not mentioning it on the Toffee Blues because we're just not mentioning any of his situation. But
difficult
at current, I think he's still on the wage bill.
I'll tell you, if he's still on this website, then he's still on the wage bill. Oh, is he not on it? Oh no, he is. Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited for the United. We'll end on this. I'm excited for the United game on this weekend.
I'm going to miss that. I've got a
Really?
Yeah, well, I think I'm pretty sure I've got a baby shower that starts. Oh no, it starts at 2, so I might be able to watch most of the game and then go. I don't know. It's difficult, but we'll probably get Jadon Sancho will score a hat trick. So
that's come up brilliantly. It's my girlfriend's birthday on Saturday, so she was like, "What are you going to do for 2 hours while I go out with my mate to get my makeup done?" Well, now I know. I'm going to watch the Everton game.
Oh,
perfect.
Are you going to pay for the membership?
Well, the mate, there'll be a live stream.
Yeah, he's going to pay for the membership. There's no other
Yeah,
way to
yeah,
watch
no,
the
sorry,
game.
yeah.
Everton,
I'm going to
we
pay
promise.
for the membership. Yeah, I'm going to pay for the membership.
We promise.
Yeah, or I might just watch the highlights the next day after. But we will wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for everyone who's been involved, everyone who's liked, viewed, commented. It's been good to interact with all of you. It's good to get your opinions, bounce off them. Again, Cal, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It's 12:45 kickoff. I'll still be free then. I'll still be watching that. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Cal. And we're going to end here, and hopefully we'll see you all soon for another one.